So I want to show y'all, this is the my start of my hydroponic journey. This is the very first system I ever built. It's a gigantic 50-gallon barrel, and all those are elbow tubes that are in there. Those are like sewer elbow tubes. Now, one of this is like start of the pandemic. Got time in my hands. They throw money at you, so I was like, hey, let's go build a what I thought was an aeroponic system, but it's really hydroponic. So it's pretty neat. It looks good. The only thing I didn't what I got wrong about this is that I didn't test this thing out to make sure it was leak proof. So unfortunately, I just kind of cut the holes and put it in here. So it's a good little system. It was very expensive, unfortunately. And of course, I'm still using these hydroponic solutions now. So I did get that right. But the thing is about it is that it did do really well, but and it wasn't too bad to clean. But there was water dripping everywhere. So you see that pan right there. Well, that held water, and of course, since in San Antonio we get mosquitoes, that was kind of a mosquito trap. So having mosquitoes in the garage isn't something that you really want to do. And then here's another thing too, right? Is that I didn't test it fully. I was so excited to get plants in there that I need to make sure that those pipes were out and that the water drained in. So I ended up having to drill some holes to make sure that the water went down in there. But I mean, honestly, this system is well spaced out. It could grow. I grew everything in here. I grew okra. I grew tomatoes. I grew beans. I grew a pile of stuff, and it did pretty well up until the point I started futzing with it, and had to kind of let it go. So I mean, also taking up one whole, side of the garage. The wife was like, "Hey, we need some garage back." So, that's the thing you need to remember is that you're probably not the only person living in the home. So make sure you do that. So peppers did pretty well, but it was kind of weird. Some were hot and some were not. I don't know what it was about that system, but so this is like the very first one I built, and it's kind of like I just decided to go big or go home, right? So yeah, this has ended up doing okay. Now we had a freeze. We had this is when that historic freeze that we had here in Texas. We're pretty much we had no power, water, or anything like that for like a few weeks. So of course, all this stuff suffered, but it didn't die, right? So I mean, these are in frigid temperatures. It was cold, no power, no water, nothing to keep it going. But somehow, a lot of these plants ended up kind of rebounding and coming back. So that was an interesting thing. So that was, this is of course, I expanded the water tank out. So I had two things in there. You see the bugs in there. uh, they didn't die out either. So, yeah, this is a neat little system. They didn't have enough light. So you see the lights are kind of spread apart, and it did okay. They should have been a lot closer, but you see it's starting to get kind of gross. And it ended up, I ended up getting rid of this thing because it was too difficult to maintain. I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning of not having like a centralized water drain piping system. So, it was fun. It was a fun project to run for about a year and a half. And then I was like, well, I still had the hydroponic bug, and I'm like, why not? Why don't we just put something in a bucket? So I grabbed one of these and drilled some holes in the top, and put some, there's a pump in there. So same system. I've been using that since the beginning, where I have a pump and I'm spraying, and I've seen that does pretty well. So this one, yeah, this is outside. Once again, this also turned into a nice mosquito magnet. So I'm really good at growing mosquitoes. And yeah, you see in there that there's the spray, and it used a 200, I think it was like a 200-gallon pump, submersible pump, and a simple spray system. That's just PVC pipe, and those are just little sprays. And it works pretty well. So the only thing about these is that if you have plants that are okay having wet roots, then that's good. Most everything, they'll start out pretty well. They'll do pretty good, and then once the roots are in there for a while, they might rot. So that's an issue. These ended up doing pretty well outside in this spot. Basil did well up to a point. I even had cucumbers growing out of it, and they ended up growing up probably about like, I don't know, 30 feet around. So they liked it. Um, but yeah, this system was okay. So you can do something like this if you want to grow some wet rooted plants like any of your greens, lettuce, spinach, stuff like that. Those will do well. Um, beans do great in these kind of systems too. You just need to have something for them to climb up. So at the time, I wasn't thinking about that, but you should plan appropriately. If you plant those things, make sure they have some means to grow up. Even if you have like you could use twine, some string, and they'll climb up that really easily. So you don't need to build something, crazy. So the next thing that I built was started into buckets, right? So I kind of gave it a break for a while, and then came back and did some buckets. And so what you see here is there's a banana tree in a bucket, and that was great. It was neat, but it turned into another mosquito magnet. And this is all off grid too. So you see the solar panels; they power up some batteries, and then there's a pump that they're all the same system, water, submersible pump. So these are good for like a little simple system you might have indoors. I don't know if these are great for outdoors because you got to paint the buckets or cover them up to make sure algae doesn't grow. So this was a neat in-betweener from one to the other. And so these plants have done, actually the funny thing is the two plants on the sides were gigantic mosquito magnets, and they had to go back to the dirt, unfortunately. But the one in the middle is working out fine. To see the roselle, there's the poor watermelon didn't make it, but the Thai chili plant is just booming with chilies. So it's doing great. And yeah, I still have those. So they're phasing out as winter will come and they'll be gone. But this is it. This is kind of what it doesn't look great, but it works great. So this is kind of like a hydroponic wall garden thingy. Same type of system, submersible pump. It comes up here, and then you see the two sprayers they're on the top. They spray both sides, and then so you've got these little plants in here. Now this is probably about a month ago, but it's a good overview of the system. So this is good because maintenance wise, it's easy to maintain. The front, which I'll show you in just a minute, opens up, and so I can get to anything on the inside. So I can, if the little sprayers get clogged, I can unscrew those, clean them up, put them back in. If I need to maintain the system, all I have to do is in that bucket. You see, there's a little spigot. So I just attach the pipe to that and it goes out to the front yard, and then it just let it go, and then I spray it out and clean it up, get a little sponge, and I'm done in like 10 minutes. I'm done cleaning this thing in 10 minutes. So that I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. This is it. This is my system. I'm good for life for this. The thing that's really good about it too is that it's sort of off grid too. So same system outside, except I don't have solar panels charging it. Is actually plugged into the grid a little bit. But anyway, the neat thing about it, it does look like a jury rig mess, is that it produces a lot. I've got about 56 plants in here. And I'm coming around to the front to show you that. And there we go. So I've got, now I have 6 lights. So I have 6 lights on this system now instead of 4. This is a month ago, so these are just seedlings just kind of getting on. Now it's just a wall-to-wall green. So you can see some other videos more recent that show that. But the cool thing is that this system works really well in a very small space. You see, I have like I just have this is in the garage, right? So I'm using like one of those wire racks, actually a converted wire rack that I had 2 extra pieces, and so I got some wood, put it in there. So it was not expensive and it wasn't difficult to build, but it produces a lot, and it uses. So I take the learnings I had from the first system, which the roots are hanging down, they're not in the water, so they do better. So I don't have to worry about rot from the roots hanging in the water. I don't have to worry about mosquitoes because this is sealed up pretty tight. And then I don't have to worry about maintenance because, like I said, it took me 10 minutes to do this. So I just got it, wiped it down, cleaned it up, and then put it back in there, and it's all done. So you see here, you see how the roots are going to hang down. Right now, they're all about like maybe 5 or 6 inches just hanging down. It looks beautiful. But that's it. It's really simple. 3D printed parts, and the back is it's kind of like a wall panel, but it's a plastic wall panel. It's just thick enough that it will hold this in here, so I can put that 3D printed part in there, and then put the others in the front, and it holds it in there really well. And it's a good spray. It just goes right down into the drain. And it was easy to manipulate. I could use a pair of scissors, or I could use the box cutter to cut it out. So it was, honestly, this is an easy build. So I'm going to show you step-by-step how I build the next one at some point. So it's a good system. I mean, honestly, I would seriously consider it. If you're going to build something, you should, you would think about modeling after this if you have a small space. If you don't have wire racks, you don't need those either. You can use wood or whatever. But having a simple system like this with it opens in the front, you might want to open in the back. Might be easier for you, but I kind of like that in the front. So it's not perfect, but man, it does produce. So anyway, I appreciate y'all hanging with me here on this video, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up anytime. Thanks. Hope y'all have a really good day.